What's up, guys? I'm way late to the game on this one, but I had to get in here and give a review for some of you that might not have seen or heard of this movie, Red Rooms. Let's go. Red Rooms stars Juliette Garipi, Laurie Babin, and is directed by Pascal Plante. What's up, guys? Welcome to a new review for a movie that was getting a lot of buzz last year, and I believe it came out in 2023. And I always meant to watch this movie, and funny enough, it was my daughter that gave me the kick in the butt that I needed, even though I've seen so many others reviewing the movie and saw a lot of chatter about the movie in the horror groups and whatnot. And my daughter, she sent me this text. She was like, "Dad, have you seen Red Rooms yet?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And she was like, "Oh my God, you need to get on that." So I said, "Thank you, daughter." And now I'm finally getting on it. I watched it last night, and I was just quite taken by what I witnessed. Wait, you haven't subscribed yet? Now, first off, if you don't know what Red Rooms is, it is a French film that takes place in Montreal about this model who happens to be sitting in on this court case. The opening of the movie is this, what feels like a one-take shot, very long. Although there might be some cuts here and there in the scene. I was just so mesmerized by what I was watching that I didn't stop to count, okay? But, you know, you get the lay of everything that's going on in the courtroom. You get the defendant there. You get the prosecutor. You get the defense attorney. It's really laying out the crimes that are at play here. The defendant's name is Ludwig Chevalier. He is on trial for these 3 murders of these very young girls. And what Red Rooms is this kind of dark web type thing where you can actually sit in and watch these murders as they are happening. And I actually believe this stuff probably exists too. There's some really sick people out there. But our main character is Kellyanne, played by Juliette Garipi, and she's just kind of obsessed with this case. You know how in a courtroom, if you show up early enough, kind of like the Johnny Depp trial, right? There were people, you know, sleeping out in tents so they could get a seat. And that's what she does. She literally sleeps in an alley just so she can get a seat to be on this trial. And as the movie is going along, you're wondering what her motivation is. And I'm not going to spoil that. I'm going to make this a spoiler-free review, just in case a lot of my audience have not seen this movie, which I highly, highly recommend. But the crimes that Ludwig is on trial for are absolutely heinous, in the worst imaginable scenario that you could possibly muster. And I think that is the genius and the beauty of that opening scene, is really setting up the story, but also setting up the whole vibe of the movie. How it is beautifully directed by Pascal Plante, who also wrote this story. Now, the character of Kellyanne, I definitely want to talk more about her because she is very interesting. And I think this is where I definitely commend the script here for going a little deeper with her. And, you know, she's our focal point throughout most of the movie. We see her daily life. She has a really nice apartment. She's a working model, very successful. But also she's got a knack for poker, which that really struck me because I'm a big poker fan. I used to play No Limit Texas Hold'em poker with my buddies when I was in the military constantly. It got me through quite a few deployments, actually. I related to that and seeing her doing online poker. And there's a moment in the movie where she's talking to this character, Clementine, who I'll talk about in a minute, about how she is very good with numbers, right? And so money's never been a problem with her. And she's pretty much like a glorified hacker as well. She knows her way around a computer, getting into back doors and whatnot, being able to access these red rooms if she wants to. And so if this character didn't work, if you weren't interested in her, then it could damage the movie. But fortunately, she is so damn fascinating throughout this. You can't take your eyes off her, and you know she is, again, the focal point of the entire movie. Clementine is an interesting character also. She's almost homeless, and she is obsessed with this trial, especially the accused. She is what you would call a groupie. a courtroom groupie. And again, bringing up the Johnny Depp trial, there were so many women that showed up at that trial. And that's just one instance. There are these serial killer groupies. You know, the guy's been tried and convicted. They don't care. They just want to support them. And that's sort of what Clementine is. There's this one beautifully directed scene. It's got this like split diopter moment where you see like her in the foreground and then you see what's on the TV behind her, but they're both in focus. What sells that scene is her reaction to what she's seeing on the TV, because she's visibly getting angry at what she's watching just because she's jaded. She totally believes that this guy's innocent, and I'm not going to tell you if he is or not. But there's sort of a bond between her and Kellyanne as the movie goes along. And Kellyanne kind of takes her under her wing, gives her a place to stay, and even, you know, like supports her. They just have really good chemistry together as characters. Okay, jumping down to brass tacks. This movie is beautifully directed, and I could not help but get David Fincher vibes throughout the whole thing. David Fincher has a way of making movies hypnotic. This is easily the most hypnotic movie of last year, and I think if I would have seen it last year, it probably would have been in my top 5, maybe top 3 horror movies of the year. Now, calling this horror, there are definitely horror elements of it, but it's more of like a psychological thriller. The subject matter is definitely horrific, but they choose a different path in not showing you the heinous crimes, but focusing more on the psychological effect that it's having on the characters. And that requires, beautiful acting, beautiful direction, and that is all here. Again, this is the most hypnotic movie I've seen in a long time. I could not take my eyes off of it. And this is a foreign film, and this is the moment in the video where I will beg my viewers that refuse to watch foreign films, start with this one. You know, sometimes it can be tough to keep up with the dialogue, you know, because you're having to read the movie as well as watch the movie, which I think that's a great thing about foreign films, is it forces us to get off our damn phones and actually enjoy the movie. You know, if you want to break away and look at your phone for a minute in a foreign film that you really want to watch, you can't really do that unless there's not much dialogue going on. So I think this one's a happy medium for that, because there are moments in the movie where there's dialogue going on, but there's also a lot of quiet moments where it's more of the direction and the score and the cinematography that's kind of moving things forward. And I love the score and the cinematography, just absolutely gorgeous. Speaking of the cinematography, this is called Red Rooms. You could tell that Pascal Plante was very strategic about his color palette in this movie. You won't see a lot of red until it's necessary, you know, and obviously when you see the crimes happening, that's where the red starts slowly bleeding in. You'll see a character's face as a focal point, and then it'll start turning red because they're looking at their computer screen. And this is where the actors really need to bring their A game too, because you see the reaction, you know, of them, and they're really just looking at a camera. They're not actually looking at a screen and these heinous acts. Now, the last thing I'll say about this movie, because again, I'm keeping it spoiler free, the main character, Kellyanne, she does definitely have a journey in this. And some bad things happen to her along the way, especially when you start getting into, you know, going in back doors in the internet. She starts getting herself in trouble. Let's just say that. And it starts affecting her personal life, and she starts breaking down, but she is so bound and determined to see this through, being very careful with my words on what her ultimate motivation is here. But let me just say, there is a scene in this movie that absolutely floored me. And it's her sitting in the courtroom, and she's literally changing her appearance as she is looking at the killer. And it was just a beautifully directed scene, beautifully acted, and just so mesmerizing. So yeah, I'm giving this movie a Trapped on an Island. It is phenomenal. And if you did not get a chance to see Red Rooms, I urge you, I beg you, please, please, please watch this movie, especially if you like movies directed by Fincher. It definitely has that vibe. And let me know what you guys thought of Red Rooms in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you saw it, so looking forward to getting down in the comments and discussing it with you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, what are you doing? Definitely jump on board. We have a blast over here. We have snacks. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow my Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Become a channel member. Buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.